after we hear him.
So what are most of us going to do when we get out of this class, or when we're done with our school day? We're going to drive home, right? Some of us have a longer drive home than others, but everybody's got to drive home unless you walk. But I mean, most of us drive, right, or get a ride. But so picture yourself driving home. It's a typical drive home. There's a lot of traffic this day. It's slow. You're at a red light. And all of a sudden your phone lights up, right? And you're like, I got nothing else to do. Let's see what my friend's up to, you know? You take a peek and you decide to text back. You're going along, still texting and dandy, having a conversation, you know, you're like, this is way better than just sitting and listening to the radio, you know, it's the same song I've heard 20 times. But you're driving along and you look down for, 5-6 seconds. You look up and you see that you're about to run straight into a red light. It's too late, you can't brake, you're already practically into the intersection. This is exactly what happened to my friend Joey. Joey was driving home from school. He had a bit of a drive, lives in Pico Rivera, and he was right down the street from his house, and he was texting, looked down, and by the time he looked up, he was already into this intersection, a busy intersection. And he actually ended up hitting a pickup truck, and he broke like 3 of his ribs and got some pretty nasty scratches and bruises. And the person that he hit actually got a concussion, but also suffered a lot of bumps and bruises. But this is just something that literally was caused by seconds that he wasn't paying attention. He made that mistake, and he's still suffering with with the repercussions of this 3 years later. Fortunately, they're both okay, and they've recovered, but he's still suffering a lot financially, and his insurance obviously skyrocketed because they didn't know that he was texting, but regardless, it still went up quite a bit because he ran the red light. So today I'm going to try to persuade all of you to think twice before texting behind the wheel. And so aside from seeing this firsthand in high school, my friend Joey getting into this car accident, I'm like everybody else, you're bored, and like I said, and I too have the temptation to grab my phone and text a friend or take a Snapchat or whatever it is, right, while you're driving. So I think I'm just as credible as anyone else in this topic. So my friend Joey made that mistake. And I know like most people think like, oh, well, I'm smart about it, or like I'll only text at a red light, or like whatever it is, right? It won't happen to me, kind of thing. But the truth is that when you're driving and you pick up that phone, it can happen to you. And you're just as likely as anybody else to get into a crash because you had to text back, or that person had to know that you were on their way. So today I'm going to share with you first some facts to open your eyes to the dangers of texting while driving. I'm going to show you how some people are raising awareness to stop distracted driving, and what you can do to some simple things you can do to protect yourself from the temptations of driving and texting. So first, I'll give you some facts about just how dangerous and life-threatening this can actually be. So according to FCC.gov, in 2010, driver distractions was the cause of 18% of all fatal car crashes. So this killed 3,092 people. So to kind of put this in perspective for you, that killed more people than the 9/11 terrorist attacks in 1 year. And this has gone up since 2010. It's continuing to go up. So more and more people are dying every year because of texting and this need to have to text someone to feel connected to someone when you're alone in a car. And according to compared to the 2.8 times more likely to crash you are when dialing a phone, or the 1.3 times more likely you are to crash when just talking on the phone, whether it be even with like a Bluetooth device or anything like that. 1.3 times more likely. According to potsdam.edu, the NHTSA reports that the driver takes their eyes off the road an average of 4.6 seconds when sending a text or texting. And that's the equivalent of, when driving 55 miles per hour, that's the equivalent of driving the length of a football field blindfolded, like not looking at all. So that's how much ground you're covering, and not even without looking up, just because you had to send this text. A lot can happen, obviously, in the length of a football field. So as you can see, it's a very serious and life-threatening thing that people do very nonchalantly, and they do it without thinking about it. Some people would even argue that it's even more dangerous than driving while intoxicated, which is why there's so many people that are trying to raise awareness and put a stop to this. For example, the people at AT&T have made an app called the Drive Mode app, and it actually will automatically reply to people who text you while the app is on. So you're supposed to turn it on when you get in your car, and it'll automatically reply to people while you're driving, and it'll say like, "Hey, I'm driving. I'll text you back later." And it's actually also for parents. It will alert the parents if the app is turned off while driving, so they know if their kids are not driving without this app on. Also, the U.S. government is attempting to raise awareness to this with their website called distraction.gov, and it's a website just dedicated to distracted driving and why not to do it, and they ask you to take a pledge to not text and drive, or not use your cell phone while driving. They also have a Twitter too, so if you'd like to follow, or I don't know, they send like facts and whatnot, just reminding you to not, also, according to an article on theguardian.com, Apple has just recently patented some new technology described as a driver handheld computing device lockout system. So it's essentially, it will be incorporated into their iPhones, and it will lock you out of the text messaging portion of the phone and some other text-based applications, and won't allow you to use them when the car is in motion. So it actually use sensors and different stuff like that to try to just get people to not text and drive. So more and more people are finding out the truth about texting and driving, and are doing their part to prevent it. But now it's our turn. These are some simple, very, very simple ways that you can attempt to remove the temptation while you're behind the wheel. So one way is to simply put your phone somewhere where you can't reach it, whether it's in the glove box or under the seat or in the back seat, somewhere where you can't get to it, because you literally can't get to it, right? You can't text and drive because you can't reach it. If that's too extreme for some people that need to have like their phone like surgically attached to them kind of thing, you can simply just silence your cell phone or turn off the notifications, and just that'll at least help you not hear the ringing and the constant reminder like, hey, you need to text back, you need to text back. Another one that I mentioned earlier is downloading an app. There's a lot of apps out that will lock you out of your phone when your phone starts moving, or send automatic replies to your friends when your car is in motion. Final way and my favorite way to remove the temptation is to simply, if you're driving with someone, make them text for you, or just give them the phone and say, can you reply, or like, you're driving them, so they should owe you at least the courtesy of replying to your messages. Hopefully today I've opened your eyes a little bit to how dangerous texting and driving is, and the many dangers that come with it. And I urge you all to think twice before picking up your phone behind the wheel. And remember that even the slightest modification to the way that you drive can save your life and many lives. Thank you.
All right, well, you speak to us directly, you have a good shared visualization at the beginning, and then it turns out that it's an actual experience of your friend, so that's a pretty effective story. By the way, in case you didn't know it, I'm sure you do, your friend is lucky. Lucky that all they're dealing with at this particular point are financial ramifications as opposed to the guilt of having killed somebody or, themselves being dead. It's just horrible to think about those kinds of things. Driving is we just get so casual about it, and all of us are guilty of it. The truth is, you're driving a 4,000-pound vehicle, and you don't have to be going fast to hurt somebody really, really bad. So it doesn't take long. So I thought you did a nice job kind of getting our attention on that. The topic's okay. I've heard a lot of the texting kind of speeches, and I thought that you did a very good job in presenting it, so I thought that worked well. And you do try to create a little bit of credibility for yourself. It does take you a while to get to the preview of the speech. You were actually almost 4 minutes into the speech before you get to the preview. So the setup is kind of lengthy. Once you get to the argument, it's pretty straightforward. You've got a lot of statistical information about the dangers that are involved, the impact of texting and driving, how quickly somebody is traveling at those distances, and the risks that you're taking there. I think you could use maybe a negative visualization or a positive visualization in this situation. When you got to the solutions, by the way, it did seem like you had an early reference to an app that addresses this kind of issue. It seemed to me like that would fit better with the other solutions that you have at the end. And then you get back to it and you said, and as I mentioned before, there are apps. I'm just going, well, why was it in that other space? Because it seemed like it was kind of out of place in that location, and it makes more sense. More sense at the end. I also like the idea where you're talking to people at the end about how you could address this issue. There are some pretty simple things that people can do that don't, it might seem strange. Put the phone in the glove compartment, or put it in the trunk of the car, or have it in the back seat, that kind of thing. And then you're not tempted to answer. Turn off the notifications. You won't even know that you're getting a text. I know that people, sometimes they just respond to text because it's an automatic thing. They say, if I was thinking about it, I was driving, I wouldn't do that. But it's just an automatic thing. It goes off, and they respond to that. And I think that you've got a nice idea on that one. The apps thing, I think, is also an interesting technology solution to this. We'll see how that goes. If we had any data on its effectiveness, it would have been helpful to have there. I'm going to yell at you about the hat one last time. Take off the damn hat when you're giving your speech. Yes, that's on video. Okay. We'll have that recorded too. People should know that sort of thing. And but that's about as far as I'll go yelling you about those things. All right, thank you.